Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some pretty interesting news in regards now to even more cool PlayStation 5 updates, which should be in regards now to the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 3 emulation on the console itself. Now, a lot of you guys have been seeing this pop up a lot more, because we even saw more patent talks and everything else tied on in, which I may actually want to do another deep dive into a little bit, because we've actually been seeing a few more contrarian articles that I was actually literally just reading through myself and going through. But for this actually I think leads into more really good news when it comes to us having expansion of older games being able to be playable on our PlayStations and our consoles and all of that. So at the end of the day, I'm pretty hyped up to go talk about this. We'll go and keep on speculating on if it's going to be good, bad, or ugly. So let's go and talk about it. As well, if any of you guys are brand new, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway. Amazon links down below for the PS5 Horizon, PS5 disc, Xbox, all that stuff. Twitter and Twitch stream. Would love you guys would follow, and of course leave your thoughts, comments down below, and let's dive into it. So, as we've seen, we've seen a new patent that's been making its rounds. We talked about this yesterday, and it was more focused initially on what a lot of articles and even me, because I was just brushing through it. I saw a few comments, I read through a few quick articles before I made the video, but it does actually seem like it's actually pushing more towards emulation rather than more so on the hardware side. So when we first saw that, a lot of people were talking more about the chance and usability of early older items. So think those weird nunchucks or whatever back in the day, or just older various things, or even also utilizing the console discs, which I think actually my interpretation of that for the disc-wise, and also more so the future longevity of games, I think was spot on. I think I'd still stand by that one. But with that little bit of 20% chance, I do think that's actually been somewhat being taken away a little bit. So they're more pushing for, I still think, on the game side versus, say, the actual hardware side. So a little bit of a stand corrected on that one. From me, as information is coming out, we're seeing different opinions, different articles, different stuff coming on out. So I'm going to probably take the L on that one, but to keep on researching and going and seeing. But for this, it actually does go and pump in even more now glimpses for PlayStation 3 emulation. So instead of just focusing more on PS2, PS3, PS4 hardware, this actually might be more of a focus on PlayStation 3 having the chance to play the games on there, which also I think might also tie into the part 2, which is why some people are maybe confused, myself so included. I would actually like to do even more information on this, where it might actually turn to if you can emulate a lot of these PS3 games, and if they're also using USB or also using similar hardware, you might still be able to utilize it. So that's a big still maybe. That's we'd have to see what Sony does or if they can work some trickery, but at least this is really good news when it comes to the PS3. So we have an article over here from Yahoo, funny enough, and Kotaku throwing out a tiny glimpse of hope for PS3 emulation on the PS5. So, first and foremost, we've actually now had newer things tied on in. That there's now actually a brand new job listing over here, which has been very, very intriguing. So Sony hiring classic engineers to develop new emulators. So a new job advertisement was published, and usually, as you guys know, we can see a lot of these leaks and various leaks when it comes to jobs and hiring. It's like, hey, World of Warcraft, we need maybe, I don't know, storyboard developers, new character creators, new maybe model developers, NFT, crypto developers. So you can go and see if someone's hiring for all that type of stuff. They're probably going to try to introduce NFTs in the future. They're going to try to go and, maybe develop new areas. They need new lore. They need a new story. So you can usually use this listing to see okay, they need them. They're paying money for them. So let's see what they're going to turn into. So once again, a new job advertisement published by PlayStation Studios has fans hoping for a PS Vita and PS3 emulator once again. Because as you guys know, both of those are on the harder side to emulate and utilize in the PS Plus. As spotted by Reset Era Uzupedro, Sony is hiring a software developer engineer who will work as a classics engineer to develop new emulators, among other tasks. PS3 emulation seems to be a pipe dream, but never say never. And that has been a big issue. Mainly because, once again, PS3 was on its own separate architecture and system, so basically it's just really hard to push. PS4 to PS5 is easy, PS4 to PS5 to PS6 will be probably easy, PS3, though, hard. So over the years, we've heard numerous reports that Sony is officially looking to bring PS3 emulation to the PS5, with the general consensus being that PS3's architecture is to blame for the company dragging feet. However, many of the gaming community argue that PS3 emulation on the PS5 is certainly possible, but something Sony probably doesn't want to invest time and resources into. Some have even suggested that the company should hire RPC S3 developers, the team behind the popular unofficial multi-platform open source PS3 emulator. Which is funny because basically emulators are usually crowdsourced, open source, and basically anyone can utilize it. So at this point, they're almost like, hey, you made our product, do you want to just help us? In the first place. So our software development engineer position works on the tools and technology team at PlayStation Studios to support a newly relaunched classics for PS4 and PS5, which is probably tied into as well for the PlayStation Plus runs. Classic games run via emulation of legacy PlayStation platforms. As a classics engineer, you would work closely with a group of our other engineers, producers, and QA teams to fix bugs, add new features, and develop new emulators. So once again, we are getting back on the whole brand new big update for the PlayStation, where it's in the works. It does seem to show that they do still care about the PS3. They still care about actually being able to utilize this on the PlayStation 5, which I myself would probably push that this is a huge PlayStation 5 and probably PS4 update. If you can go and utilize these older games, that basically is fixing like the huge long backlog that Sony's had. PS1, PS2, mostly fine. PS3, really hard. PS4, PS5, mostly fine. So if you get that one last little hole, that'll pretty much put the whole entire catalog all put together. So while it's evident that the aforementioned job description is referring to classics and PS Plus Premium, that doesn't actually stop their fans from getting their hopes up too as well. So it's like, it's still kind of very, very strange because we also have been seeing this brand new patent that we bench up to as well. So there's a rumor of the getting old PS3 peripherals work on the machine, which would all also be such a relief. So there is not a confirmation fully on that. But as I kind of wanted to allude into, it does kind of seem like if you could somehow get the software on the PlayStation 5 from the PS3 and have the emulator, it's kind of like a triple effect, where it's like you have the main console, you have the emulation files, and because you're technically running on the same formatted emulated files, you might be able to go and run other various things such as hardware, such as games, etc., if the functionality and connectability, such as like say Wi-Fi or USB, actually could work. So it's kind of like partially true what we said before, if it's all making sense in my head, although with this is still like in the process and being worked on, so it's not fully done as of yet. But it also makes sense too because we have had such a huge big controversy on the PS3 versus the PS5, where a lot of folks really want the PlayStation 3 itself to be utilized. I mean, it's also rightfully so. There actually was a lot of really good games on the PS3, although I'm still always push more. I like the newer stuff. I don't mind the remakes or remasters, but there was a really big squad of folks who do enjoy and appreciate the PS3 itself. Like, there's almost no reason not to, especially if Xbox can do it. So basically, if you have partaken in Sony's relaunched PlayStation Plus for the PS4 and PS5, you'll have noticed that when exploring the 400 plus games in its extensive archives, everything in the PS3 has to be streamed. And a lot of folks are pretty upset with the streaming, which would make sense. You could basically go and have a normal game, say PS2, PS4, versus having to go and stream is usually rough. So the PS5 so far has been incapable of running PS3 emulation, which makes for a massive bummer when it comes to missing out on the entire generation of games on modern machines. The rebooted PS Plus offers the option to download the games from PS1, PSP, PS2, PS4, and PS5, but as you guys keep on seeing, you just can't even download even the PS3 games, which is ridiculous. So that's why I think a lot of this brand new patent talk and why people are kind of like putting into it is because it's a big deal. Like, this is literally an entire console generation that no one can work into. So as we mentioned, there was a brand new development engineer position that's working with the tools and technology team to basically help support both the classics, the emulation, and as well, the streamability, all this stuff too. It's the development of new emulators that has me excited, myself included. Because unless they're going rogue and intend to let people run their own Game Boy Advance ROMs or GBA ROMs on the console, the PS3 is the only emulator that really needs developing, which is also true. Like everything else, even I think at this point the Switch, very baseline PS5 has all been developed. So basically, we've also been seeing this new patent too as well, with the desire to get more PS3 peripherals too on top of that, which would be the iToy, PS Mouse, and PS Move controllers. So at the end of the day, it's not like fully optimized, but it would make sense in combination. You get PS3 games working, you can get PS3 hardware working if you still own it. Makes a lot of sense to me. And even as the article person does, they complain that they're basically having still pixelated games, the experience isn't good, and I'm sure at the end of the day that actually would be affecting PS Plus subscriptions, and Sony would want to make it better, because no one really wants to play a streamed game if they're not on the cloud or whatever. If they're at home on their couch, they want to have good graphics and have it be consistent with no other issues tied on it. So this is actually, I think, kind of still big. The fact that they're hiring for it, the fact that we're seeing patents for it, and it's kind of in motion. This kind of seems the next big PlayStation 4 and 5 update, if this will work for PS Plus, is looking pretty big. So give me your thoughts and comments down below. Do you guys care? Do you guys not care? Happy 4th of July. Make sure you guys are subscribed, notifications on, leave that like, all the links and sell links down below. I'll see you guys later on throughout today for more videos.